Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sticking with us through the break of this series between Indiana University, previously undefeated even in their games, versus Rutgers, right, who dealt them that first game loss in a series. This will be the first time, even if Indiana wins, they don't do it 2-0 here in the round of 16, which means winner moves on to the quarterfinals. That's going to be a tense run,
Pretty serious.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we'll waste no time. We have draft number 2 ready to rock and roll here. We did see, of course, in that first game draft, and so keep in mind we do switch sides now. Indiana on the blue side, Rutgers to the red. We did see the Aatrox coming up huge. Well, no surprises that that one's going to get banned out instantaneously. They don't want to see that. Draven still the target at Dire Bump. Given the game he had on Lucian, you give him a mechanical carry like Draven. I'm afraid to see what he can do. Well, now, as Kennedy denied that Kha'Zix yet again. Still the jungle pressure coming out. Still Graves off the table. Rutgers, they don't feel like they need to change their strategy. Indiana, they're the ones burdened with change. And we'll see. I doubt they're going to pick, just the same old thing and try to run it back to execution, because Rutgers sniffed that out pretty quickly. Were able to cleanly hold off the field.
It was strange kind of quick. It wasn't like they just read them, though. They play the comp, they get an advantage, and then the game ended. Right? They got an advantage in their competition and then lost one fight and lost the game. So maybe that was the stall going wrong, but whatever happened, I think it was more execution than composition. Sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they run something close to what they did. I wouldn't be surprised with the new Alistair combo if we don't see that champ. Have you seen that new combo, by the way?
No, do tell.
You headbutt and recall while you're headbutting.
Huh.
They don't move backwards if you cancel the headbutt with a recall, and then you knock them up.
Interesting.
It is disgusting. We've been comboing it all week long ever since that was discovered, and it is absolutely nutty. So we'll see if that's actually used, if that's actually going to be picked up and utilized by anybody in this series. Maybe it won't be. Maybe that's a possibility. It doesn't actually get played, but certainly a super, super strong champion. Just got stronger again.
Well, now look at these red side takeaways over for the side of Rutgers. Their solo laners that they waited till the very end to pick last time, but now they take the Urgot away, as well as the Lissandra. So Andes and Rem, likely the two to be on very different champions this time around. Well, the side of Indiana, they're not too worried about it. They say, look, you played Sion into us last time. We'll see exactly. We'll show you exactly what Speedy Lion can do with this champion, and maybe this is a bit of trying to show Andes how it's done.
I'll be honest. I think Andes played really well that last game. Right?
That was what
he actually
for
matched
situation.
super even against a Fiora, a matchup that's unfavorable for tanks to say the least. And even in a split push where sometimes he got dove, sometimes he got solo. That happened against Fiora. He still didn't give up too much, and by too much I mean the base. He gave up a lot, but it wasn't too much. It was just enough so that they could still win the game afterwards. So to that I would say props to him, but there are still other places to put the Scion, right? You can put him at support. You can have that inting Scion build. That's so hard to deal with. I don't know if you've seen that. It did get slightly nerfed with the introduction of turret plating, actually. So I'm not sure if it's actually still viable, but it used to be that you would run down a lane, hit the turret, your demolish would go off, and the turret would basically explode with nobody being able to interact with you, which is kind of crazy to think about, but maybe it still does work. Maybe after turret plating falls off, it's just as effective or even more, since turrets no longer have any resistances to their name. We shall see.
With that,
Gragas banned in the second phase coming around.
Yeah, both supports locked in, and they opt to trade more this time as well. Rutgers, 2 of the 3 thus far from the composition of Indiana, and Indiana 2 of the 3 thus far from the composition of Rutgers. So a polite trade happening here in the draft of game number 2. Seems to be more side favored thus far than team specific, but the Gragas banned out. The Xayah going to be unchanging. Direbomb must not want to run up against that this time around. And Coke's on that Jhin. It took him a while to get rolling, but once he kind of realized his role in the game and where he could not be a liability, he stayed back well before the fights. Popped the curtain calls as the initiations for the fights. and then was able to follow up kind of accordingly while the rest of his team cleaned house. So this is not a guy I feel like you put on that Xayah the same playstyle ways, and would expect to see that. But they're going to keep the bans the same in the second round, both AD focused. Don't want the Ez, don't want the Xayah. Malzahar and Gragas banned away. Last time it was Lissandra, but obviously that's not an option on the table anyway.
I'm really, really liking the Tristana. I think Tristana's good in the current meta. She's fantastic. Turrets, and the only other pick I could see coming in here would be like a Ziggs, right? And that's okay. Jungle pick is fine. That's fine. But for AD at least, right?
Right.
You need the turret taking potential. You need that to be heavy siege. You can forgo anything else at the expense of heavy siege, but it has to be a heavy siege ADC. Your top laner is super low range. Your mid laner, while good wave clear, also super low range. Your jungler is melee. You need a fantastic siege ADC to complement this composition, right? Somebody who can stand back, do great damage, play relatively safe. I really think the Trist is perfect, but failing that, we've seen Ziggs. Ziggs ruins turret, right? Especially now that they have more health. That just means more health to get executed. So in that sense, he's gotten even better on the patch as well. So we will see. Maybe the Ziggs gets picked up, maybe it doesn't. The Zillion lock-in though,
It's curious.
that tanky team is going to be even harder to kill.
And just like that, so Kane to jungle this one out. Daedric, interested to see how he's going to pan this one out. Sweaty Toast, the final pick here being hovered for Rutgers. And it's going to be that AD role, something that's been targeted, to say the least, coming out now. But Karthus, the lock-in here.
There we go. Yeah.
So this is interesting.
Is a fantastic pick. I really like it. I think this is one of the best new meta picks to come out of things. So the Karthus, the reason it's so effective, the reason it's so good, is because Dark Harvest procs so many times in Karthus. You just get infinite damage on your Qs. Once you hit somebody in a fight, they explode. That's all I can say about it.
Interesting. Well, maybe then the Zillion could be a pretty safe play into that come later games when he does, have that bit of security there and the ability to just resurrect teammates same way. Aatrox being off the table, the resurrection not going to be something there, but regardless, yeah, very curious to see how these two teams are going to stack up against each other, particularly Speedy Lion on this Scion here for himself, and then exactly what else can be accomplished there as we are getting ready to get into this second game between these two teams. It's a lot of focus, a lot of pressure to come down between now Indiana and Rutgers. It's got to be Indiana to find something to change up in this game. They do not want to lose 2-0 to Rutgers. They need to draw this series out, and we'll see if that's something that they can make happen here in this second game.
Yeah, that game number 2 matters so much. If they actually manage to find it, they get the advantage. If they get the win, they can come back. They can make it a 3-game series once again. But it's all up to Indiana, right? Rutgers is just going to try and execute the same game plan, get their new and very strange composition if you haven't been following the current meta, and just walk through. Karthus is a crazy good carry right now. He just runs people over, and if the game lasts less than 20 minutes, guaranteed a Rutgers win. That's just how their composition is. If it ends before that, you know who won the game.
Well, hate to see something just determined so early, but either way. Cheeky little exchange coming out of these guys. Lissandra hits him with the D to dance, and they reply, oh, we need to remake now. Obviously all in good fun, no one flashing early, thankfully. In fact, more D flashers here in this game than standard F flash purists. So don't know what to make of that.
That doesn't matter. Do you know why that doesn't matter? Because a couple seasons ago, and by couple I mean I'm probably showing my age, it was probably like season 4 or 3 or something, they did a study, right? Said, okay, what regions put flash on D versus flash on F? In NA, I think it was like 40-60 or something like that. The only region that had more on D than F was the newest one at the time, which was Brazil. Oh, Force in the bot lane though, they almost go for it. And the one region that was overwhelmingly Flash and F was it was 80% Flash and F. So
Huh.
I don't know if you know something, but the Koreans know something, and I trust them.
Yeah, they you know, have that as the next run there. Yama, the aggression onto Rutgers. Feeling pretty good about this one, and Sweaty Toast, well, being reminded that the hooks just aren't the same as the all-star support player Yama here, but whether or not he can keep that pressure up remains to be seen. Pressure here in this bot lane around this Karthus, I think, is going to be something that's, really important the way the rest of this game defines just what kind of couple steps Cokes can get off to the races with here, because that's going to set the tone for the way the rest of this game is going to go. And you don't expect this to be the kind of game that's over in 15 minutes. Not a whole lot of champions in this game who can really put it on their back here.
The Karthus is insane. I expect this game, specifically because of Karthus, to be over, right?
Okay, so I say over, not decided, just over.
I know.
Okay.
Karthus ends the game
We'll
really,
see.
really quick. It's actually insane. This is the reason the new meta is so crazy. It's because of the Dark Harvest, how big of an impact it's had on certain champions. The Camille, though, known for a level 2 ganks, is instead level 3 invading.
Double buffs, wants to find it. Forces Daedric over the wall there, and Speedy Lion gonna have to be the shield behind which Daedric does recover here. Get back to base, and great play by Best Ken in the Nay. That's gonna reset just a little bit of time, burn off some of Daedric's, prime time with those buffs, and kind of goose any gank potential that he may have wanted to have over Ondes there. So fantastic from Best Kennen to really be able to pressure that one out, keep some jungle priority in their favor, and just allow Ondes to continue trying to win out this lane. Speedy Lion feeling the damage for that one, and already, it's a 5 CS lead, not the biggest deal in the world, but fewer than 5 minutes, you expect to see that kind of just grow exponentially.
Well, we shall see if it continues to grow. But what I'm most impressed with is how well Best Kennen read the path, right? It's one thing to understand, oh, he should be here, he should be there. But to hard read it to that extent, right? To know exactly when he's supposed to be on Gromp, know exactly when your route ends, how to get over there. Great stuff by him. And it does pay off, as you said. It means that Ondes keeps pressuring, it means that the top lane keeps winning. And knowing when Krugs respawn means that the Kayn has to go back to bot.
Yeah, going to be a pretty huge pickup, all things considered, if they can play to all of those strengths. But meanwhile, Ondes just trying to get Speedy Lion in a little bit of trouble here, wants to keep finding out the pressure, and that's just only going to grow this CS lead that started at 5, now up to about 10 here, and shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. Great find for the side of Rutgers University, who leads this game, and this series, 1-0 right now. You gotta wonder what the mental fortitude is looking like over in the hands of Indiana. Not
they
used
were
to
undefeated
losing
until this point. It
Right.
could be fantastic or it could be terrible, right? You never know what happens on the first loss to a team until it actually comes. And some teams take it in stride. They do fantastically. They just coast on through it. Some teams fall apart, right?
It's the
I've
old
been
saying.
on both. I've coached both. It's the job of the coach to stop that kind of mental tilt, of course. But it does happen, right? It does happen. Sometimes that's just how players are. And if maybe their coach isn't there this time, it could get way out of hand. But so far, at least, they are looking very composed. And they're trying to aggress onto the Karthus, not going to land the Q. Not as comfortable right now. If that was a Thresh, right? He just walks. It's dead Karthus. But it's not Thresh. So they're playing a bit differently. They can't get as easy even a kill. And even though Kayn invades, he gets Gromp. He can't pressure either, right? Diving a Karthus seems so ridiculous because let's say you dive him and you kill him. Then he comes back to life and kills you, right? It's so hard to justify that kind of expenditure of resources because you know that you are not able to actually put him down long enough for it to really matter.
We'll see what time they can buy for themselves here. Time on the favor of this composition for Indiana, I would say. Happier to get later and later. Just Zillion and just stacking HP on Scion as well. Somebody to become a little bit more of a late game terror. Now you do have to contrast that with the Camille here and the Urgot, both of which will be no slouches as the game does continue to roll and stack on. And you feel like this turret plating, which is a positive incentive to start knocking down little bits of towers earlier, should start speeding up games, but
Okay.
This is the aggression that they want here. The Blast Cone used really well to get back over
Fantastic.
the wall. Yeah, so safe play by Rutgers to get themselves out of that one and tried to find the first blood, but Speedy Lion going to live up to the Speedy part of his name. Ulting right out of that one, says no thank you. Would rather burn the ult than the flash. Get back under tower, and Andez not going to be able to ult for the execute. Going to be a nice takeaway, all things considered, by Speedy Lion. Obviously, wouldn't have wanted to use it, and Andez going to be able to pressure a lot more out of this.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, I say that. He goes under
wait.
tower. This tower's going to kill him. Yeah, first blood.
Okay.
Right as we start to
no.
sing his praises and say he gets this advantage, you can't afford to throw it away like that. Don't even know what to say about that.
Until it didn't. I mean, that's just crazy how that happens sometimes. But no ultimate on the Scion. He's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, flash for
follow on
flash.
Camille.
I think this is going to be it. One more shot, but Best Cannon in A. Not going to try for it. And it's just an exchange of flashes at the end of the day. But Best Cannon in A couldn't come out big with that one. Didn't want to give a double kill to this Speedy Lion. And so they keep first blood and will hold that out. 500 gold lead to their advantage, and no answer yet on the side of Rutgers.
I would have actually much rather seen her save the there. I think it was a little bit greedy to use it at the outset. It is her only chase tool, and after she missed the W, the only way she has to CC anybody. So throwing that out early means that she can't flash stun, she can't guarantee get the flash, she can't guarantee get the stun, and so it kind of nullifies the use of the flash, right? At that point, you just flash, get his flash, and get it over with, right? But if you're flashing after him, you better have that E. You better have some kind of CC to chase him and to get the rest of the kill. She didn't. So at that point, it's a Summoner Spell trade rather than an advantage, and the Camille's going to have to make something happen in order to take advantage. She's going to need to come back top, make sure that she repeat ganks the flashless Scion, and actually kills him this. If she does, then it was, but only at that point. Until then, still going to be a net loss because the Camille could have gotten a kill, but didn't actually manage to capitalize.
With that, too, the more Camille needs to spend on this top lane, as things may start to tilt back towards Speedy Lion, more it's going to open up the map for Daedric here. Start trying to find some more advantages. You know he's, in the past, loved to pay some attention to this bottom lane. Yama and Dire Bump, two people that he was happy to get ahead in that last game. This time, a little bit behind as far as the trading goes. I mean, Karthus just in this perfect world, able to just CS. Doesn't even need to get near Dire Bump and Yama to do so. Just at high mana cost, but Sweaty Toast, he's the HP bar. He's the front of this operation, and Cokes can just farm out, and it's keeping him about 8 to 10 CS in the lead, kind of across the board here. So, wonder at what point we'll be seeing a visit from Kane there. He wants to find Andez instead, and they're going to dive this. I don't know if that's the best situation, because Andez here pulling him deeper and deeper under tower, but they trade the aggro pretty nicely. Doesn't matter, the flash comes out, Andez gets the kill onto Daedric, and great play by Andez to make sure he uses that flash, stays under the tower, pulls him in deep, and he would have gotten a double kill if they stayed on the commit. Meanwhile, Best Cannon in A is here. He's going to launch himself in. There's still no flash. And no way out of this one for Speedy Lion. He's going to try, but I think they get him here. And Andez takes the shot. Speedy Lion probably going to be able to do a little bit of damage to Best Cannon in A here, but he'll get out in one piece. And Rutgers find themselves that lead back. It's a good lantern, but it's not enough. Look at that. They got it with the Glacial Fissure. Yama has that one. Sweaty Toast going to pull him back in, actually, and force a flash out of Dire Bump. Cokes actually, with the passive, is able to find a kill there. You. Oh my goodness. Flash for flash, Sweaty Toast not finding Yama, but making the best of a bad situation there. And just over 11 minutes into this game, Cokes will find his first kill. And that's a huge gain. Is the kill in the bot lane for the side of Indiana went to Yama.
I'm telling you, man, the Karthus is crazy. It's so good, right? It's as if he was never meant to be a mid laner, right? Mid lane Karthus, what do you think about it? You think he's immobile. He doesn't have great wave clear. He doesn't have fantastic dive. Has got no mobility. I already said he's immobile. So immobile twice. That's really how immobile he is.
That's doubly immobile, right? We can't emphasize it enough.
But he has literally just some of the worst actual clear and stats, everything. He's Gank City. You pair him with a support, all of a sudden he looks fantastic, right? He's great. He's got great wave clear at that point because he's safe while he's doing it. He has not only got a wall to slow people, but he can set up for extra, which is what the wall really does. what the wall really does. And when he goes and dies, he has somebody else to keep them close by so that he can continue killing. It's just, it's such a good pairing. You wonder why nobody thought of it first.
Yeah, these things do take time. League of Legends is constantly a game of, once somebody figures it out and it enters the public knowledge bank, it becomes this discussion of, oh yeah, like, everyone wants to feel like they almost always knew it. Sweaty Toast in some trouble here. The play not going to land, the hook not going to land. Can't lantern himself out of this one. Is going to go down for this almost certainly. Dire Bump gets the credit, and Best Cannon in A under tower. Going to get slowed up, but we'll be okay. The Camille pinging out. Daedric using his ultimate for that one is going to be a big takeaway. That's actually, speaking of ultimates, Speedy Lion trying to get it in onto Andes, forces a tower shot, and can continue to bolster out the combo here. Yeah, I think he actually may be in a pretty good position to try to get himself this kill here if he connects with this one, but doesn't, just at the edge, which means Andes will be able to get out of that one in one piece. Cokes now maybe for a little bit of trouble, but should be able to clear out these minions pretty quickly. Wise of Yama and Dire Bump not to attack him, not to deal with those tower shots. Instead, just get more and more of these plates. It's the last 30 seconds that they can try to take them away, so they'll feel good for themselves.
Yeah, you really might as well. I mean, it's just bonus gold in the pocket. And the fact that no turret has fallen... Actually, no. Yeah, no turret has fallen. That's
not yet.
Kind of surprising considering last game, considering the fact that there is a Lucian and a Karthus. You expect one of them to just have a fantastic lead. But beyond the CS, right? The Karthus is great CS, that's for sure, but that's really about it. No huge leads in any other lanes. This is just a very standard, very safe kind of game. And while Karthus is a good champion, I'm not so sure that he scales. He scales pretty good, but does he scale well enough? Is he an AD scale supplement, or is he still a mage? Is he still limited to that 2-item spike compared to Lucian, who is also limited to that 2-item spike?
Oh yeah, if apples to apples and doesn't matter in that situation, then who knows if they do offset each other. That's Algebra 1. X on each side. It's just going to cancel it out. But regardless, it does then come down to execution. Something we saw favor Rutgers last game. That last game, of course, one of the big points that went well for Rutgers was Rem in that mid lane just looking absolutely foul on that Aatrox. Didn't get to play it here. And has had a quieter start on the Lysandra. Up, in CS a good amount. Going to be feeling good about that 30-some-odd CS lead. But is it that same potential that you would have out of that Aatrox, that hyper carry that was kind of from the very start set in stone? The first tower does go down. They'll feel good about that one. Sweaty Toast trying to get Yama in some trouble here, but there's the Glacial Fissure. Best Cannon in A wants to come in. He's going to find Yama, but they could meanwhile try to turn this one back. No, Cokes is going to be there. They will abandon the Braum. No one for Braum to stand behind, and Karthus finds his second kill of this one. The Luden's already completed. That's going to feel great for him, as this does continue to stack out. And Rutgers looking poised in this second game already with a lead. Got to be feeling good about their chances in this series now. Just a matter of stretching it and closing out before the rest of this composition from Indiana can really come back.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not a super huge... Right, this game isn't over. It's not even close. But this is why Karthus is strong. He scales really well. He fights extremely well in skirmishes. He's got great clear. He's got great AoE. But when paired with people, right, when he can continue to AoE, fight in team fights, not 1v1s, that's when he's the strongest. And that's why he's being so effective right now. He's being used to his strengths. Everybody's following around it. Everybody's grouping with it. And they've got CC to lock people down, so he doesn't even have to think about where to throw the Skittles. They just get instant diabetes, and that's the skills that you need to pay those Karthus bills. He's got a good bounty on his head now. I think, realistically, Indiana have to step something up. They need their Lucian to actually come back to the forefront if they want to be able to take this lead back.
It's going to be tricky to find the execution to make that possible, and last game we saw a lot of that come from Daedric on the Kayn. Not quite Sweaty Toast. Maybe next time. We saw Daedric really doing a great job on that Gragas of supplementing where that lane may have been lapsing just a little bit. Hasn't been able to find the same kind of pressure here. And you try to think of where Daedric has had an effect in this game, and it's not been many places. It has been able to, does have that one assist. Great Rift Herald, by the way. This is going to be certainly that. Actually, they don't even wait to let it get the charge off. They're just going to make it reset. Truck on down here, and Speedy Lion's going to do what he can to hold this one out. But yeah, this tower is going to be taking a punishing now from the side of Rutgers. 17.5 minutes. Rift Herald is in. Prime, ready to go. Will not be displaced. Cannot be denied. Half the tower's HP. They do rally 3 to hold it out. So, Rift Herald will go down. Tower will stay up. Such is life in the secondary top lane right now, but...
The secondary top lane. It's a second-class lane. That's just what we think about it as.
It's just, inner towers and so forth, deep into the portion of the game. Keep in mind, top lane got virtually no attention in the last game, right? I mean, Rutgers won without even taking the opposing top tower. I think
That's
Indiana took top tower.
They took only mid turret.
Yeah, so maybe not the most unfair assessment thus far of importance to these two teams, but regardless, it's a 2.5K gold lead for Rutgers. 2 towers. This is almost identical, actually, save a bit of a smaller gap in kills to the same lead tile that Indiana held over Rutgers in the last game. So obviously this is not a point in which you should be counting anybody out. Rutgers have proven it is possible to come back, but showing that they were the ones that did come back, I'm sure bodes extra well for them now being the team in the lead, knocking on the door of close to 20 minutes here. That Baron will be up in just over 60 seconds. They want to find the Ocean Drake first. Have to be careful around that Zillion Bomb. You just pull it out here, and they will find themselves that Ocean Drake. Going to get that nice regen out of combat. That'll be a big pickup for them here. Hook's not going to do too much. Just a brush across the plate for Yama. Says, hey, take a little while longer to kill my ward.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good pickup, right? They've got an advantage in the bottom lane. They're taking advantage of that. They're pushing forwards, get themselves a dragon. Good use of the pressure that they already have in existence. However, it opened up the top side. The Scion's still shoving. They have to worry about this. The turret's going to go down as well, way before they can manage to kill off the Scion. And even if Speedy Lion died, which it doesn't look like he's going to.
No, great navigation. He's still chugging along in this river. Will actually, halfway through the mid lane, get up there. Yeah, they want him, but, it's really just the tower that they do want to take away. They equalize the towers here. They shore up that gold lead, or gold deficit, I should say, to under 2K at this point. And Indiana, some good macro play to really put the pressure on Rutgers, who's been floundering a bit with it. They thought they were safe here. They're not done. Cokes is split off the lantern, thankfully, for the AD, if you can call it that, of Rutgers. Will get him out of that one, but that was a little too close for comfort, and I'm sure Sweaty Toast didn't want to have to be in that position.
Yeah, he probably probably didn't want them to do that. But, whether he wanted them to or not, it doesn't really matter. It happened as it happened. So they got to deal with it now. And I think they're dealing with it fine. So something else they got to look at, right? Fact is, this Baron, now that it's up, needs to be a high priority for both teams. For the side of Rutgers, they're looking to close the game out. They want to get this very quick win. It passed 20 minutes. The Karthus is starting to fall off. He's not as effective after he hits that 2-item spike. Still good, but it's really about the Dark Harvest spike, trying to get the immediate win and just run from there. It's not like Heimerdinger where you can wait out for forever, instant burst somebody with one spell, and just, win off of a rocket combo in your turret. You need something a little bit more. You need to land the Qs, or at least be able to press R after you die and get them to, a quarter HP. So maybe it isn't that hard. Maybe this is fine, actually. Now that I think about the way that most Karthus play, walk in, die, press ultimate, this is going according to plan.
We'll see whether or not Indiana has an answer for that plan, as they're behind in most metrics just about everywhere on the board. Kills, CS, until just recently it was towers, and now Best Cannon and A wanting to get in onto Daedric. Going to cause some trouble here. That's the unstoppable for Speedy Lion. He gets in. Might not wish he had. Now, meanwhile, Rem is going to get the kill onto Daedric. They want to find a little bit more. Lion going to be in some trouble. The knockup just not there. And he will get put out to pasture quickly for this one. Yama gonna try to slow him up. I think their best bet's actually just to kill off the ghost of Speedy Lion quickly enough. The Karthus, not the Karthus, the Scion passive, excuse me there. They get out, still relatively high health bar. Yama almost causing a little bit of discord, but just not enough. Another 2 kills going down, favoring Rutgers here. Things going from bad to worse for Indiana. They got a lot more ground to cover now. There's the teleport coming down. Glacial Fissure to get the health bar low. Andez, the only low one thus far, but King Jiba's taking a beating on the back line. Meanwhile, there's a culling from behind the shield, and that should be actually 3 members of Indiana holding off the onslaught that was ready, poised, and waiting from Rutgers. So that's going to be a big back forced and buying a lot of time for Indiana. That's got to feel pretty good if they can continue to replicate that.
Yeah, it is going to feel pretty good. I mean, replicating that is probably one of the most important things for them to actually win. But, you know, maybe they don't just win a random fight. Maybe they, you know, they take a little bit longer and then it happens over a period of time, but oh well. You know, sometimes that just does happen.
Let's see if they can avoid disaster striking here. Only 23.5 minutes into the game. Last game took about 31 minutes, 32, close to it, but felt like it could have reasonably gone on much longer than that. It was the one very weird fight that we, you know, kept talking about. It's really set the tone for this rest of the game too, actually. That did just kind of collapse the game in a, what was a 4-tower push and an inhibitor in the midst of that as well to kind of finish things out. So when you take stock of the game, trying to assign, you know, the standard routine of this is how long it should take. Well, not exactly something that I feel like pertains here. Andez getting caught out just a little bit. The Lantern, is it the salvation yet again? Well, yes, it will be. There's the flash. It means Sweaty Toast is caught up. He'll have to use the box for this one. The Glacial Fissure's out. The Dragon down in the meantime by Best Kennen in A, so they'll trade their support for the Dragon. It was a couple of ultimates used on the side of Indiana for that, as they do pop Scion and Brahms ultimates to make that happen. Get Threshes in return, and a flash out from Andez as well, so all things considered, it would be a decent trade if not for the Dragon going over in favor of Best Kennen in A, taking that one for Rutgers. Now, can they stop? They actually want to get over the wall for Coke. This is a split focus here. It's got to be dangerous. Daedric has to be careful here. We'll have the Zillion ultimate to revive him this time. Andez, maybe not such luck. If he does go down, that's Kennen and A over the wall. Andez on the rampage. The jungler is dead, so Baron hopes probably die with him. Coke's going very hard for this one, though, and he does die. That's going to be the R being pressed. Yama going to be feeling that one for himself and will go down here. Now Speedy Lion trying to get out to the blast cone, but just not enough, and Rutgers finds themselves that one as well. 9-5 on the kill score. 25.5 minutes in, and Rutgers, they win another big one. Should be able to maybe take a tower off of this one. 3 dead on Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we saw last time, right? They just win a random fight, take a bunch of objectives, and that's how they won the game. But this time around, they don't win the game. You're going to go for the Baron, take a very safe objective, maybe bait them in a little bit, try to win another fight, get an advantage, do the exact same thing all over again. So far, though, it's looking like another Rutgers game, right? It wasn't a Rutgers game for a while, and now it is, right? Following the exact same pattern of the first game. Now, all they have to do is close it out. Same kind of bait style, take a good fight, get a couple kills, have an advantage at least, and then win.
Speedy Lion waiting in the wings for Best Kennen in A. They're going to actually stack up on him. The Lantern's there. Doesn't get him out this time. King Jebus is ready to get that kill. More coming, man. He's going to try to get this one. The Resurrection is down. The Glacial Fissure. But Andez is unstoppable thus far. It's a double kill, actually, for Indiana already. And they don't show any signs of slowing down, as Andez will be the next one to fall. That one goes credit to Kane. Daedric finding himself the kill there. And it's an ace coming out. What is this game, Zeta? Like, what did we just see? I'm gobsmacked.
I'm not gonna
flabbergasted.
Of game it is. That was a full ace. Zillion?
Well, so it was absolutely just had to have been Rutgers funneling in to a place where, okay, Speedy Lion can really tie him up for a little bit, make sure he's getting every bit of mileage out of that initial impact he had on Best Cannon NA. Meanwhile,
Oh,
yikes! No, he goes down to it. I thought he would get out just on the edge of it.
that's what happens when you wait for your last teammate.
I'm pretty sure that was the Luden's proc actually that
It was.
finished him off.
It
Oh
was.
my goodness!
Scorch.
Ouch! That one hurts. So Baron on what, 2? Or did the respawns come in time?
Wait, what's up?
How many members of the side of Indiana
They
have
only
Baron?
lost 1.
Okay. The other 2
The other
were
4
up?
have it.
Okay, gotcha.
Even the Scion has it. They waited long enough for the Scion to get it, which is why they were stalling for so long
Right.
and not finishing off the Baron. So they actually have 4 members with Baron. Still very good. The same number that they would have had if they had gone earlier and the Kayn hadn't died. So, in that sense, it's an even trade. They give over the kill gold, but they get the Scion with Baron. Maybe they can split push with it. They probably won't, though. Instead, just gonna stand mid, wait for the Karthus to kill your super minions, and watch the turret go down.
Oh, yeah, turret is out of this one now. Meanwhile, another engage coming in. Glacial Fissure has been the start for all of these thus far, and soaking up a lot of damage, but now Yama's getting pulled back in. His health bar is very low. Doesn't matter. Finds the kill on the Best Cannon and a Speedy Lion. Trying to tie them up here means Andes and Ram are on the way out of this one, but Andes going to be punished for it. That's Dire Bump getting the kill. Little far in, maybe? Doesn't matter. Minions are coming up the line. 12-12. On the skill lead right now. This is going to be another tower destroyed. That's the second mid. This feels vaguely reminiscent of the first game here, Zeta. If they can continue this pressure out, this could be an inhibitor that they want to find. Indiana pushing through.
It's the other way around.
Right? Well, blue side, right?
It's the other way around. They had already lost their lead. They already got pounded by Rutgers, and then they just win a fight. This meta is swinging so far back and forth, I can't tell where the pendulum is actually going to come to a rest. And so far, Indiana are holding the momentum of it. They are just restraining it, pulling it as far back as possible before they have to let it go back to the Rutgers side.
And you think if you're Rutgers here, how are you going to claw it back into your side? Because your strategy thus far of group and fight isn't really working here. And the outmaneuvering has been Indiana's forte, both in the early game, game number 1, and now here, especially in game number 2. Is where it becomes very tricky for the team that's win condition was, well, let's have better fights. Well, they're not having better fights now, and now they've got a 4-1-7 Lucian to deal with, a 2-0 Zillion. Scion with 3 kills on his personal ticket there, as well as we're just getting to about 30 minutes here. Rutgers, you know, they may have 1 or 2 more good stalling fights in them, but if they can't win in totality, this becomes a very different game and potentially looks like it could be forcing us to a game 3.
Yeah, very much so. I think if it does force us to a game 3, this is probably going to be the last Sea of Rutgers, right? If they collapse here, if they, lose that sort of thing, we talked about mental before, it's going to matter a lot.
And keep in mind here, this is not the regular season anymore. This is playoffs. It's single elimination, means you lose this series, your season is done. Both teams very well aware of the weight of this, and Indiana, they've not cracked under it yet, even though they did lose the first game. Well, now they want to find a little bit more. They want to maybe engage under tower, but it was so low. Rutgers were not going to even try to defend it, so the Baron's gone. The towers are in disarray. 1 inhibitor. Nothing but a pile of smoldering ash in the mid lane. They do want to get the second one before they back. They feel like they have the health bars for it. Ultimates are still up on every member of Indiana now, and trickier situation to navigate for Rutgers. Instead, they're going to back off. They're just going to let the wave peter out here. They're going to reset for items. We'll see what they can come back to the table with, because the tankier this Scion gets, the tankier and more resistances Braum can build up, right? That's a blasting one added to Zillion. That's a Negatron cloak for Kayn. All of this, the tools by which they intend to make a difference. Reset, get a little bit more of that passive gold on the map, right? There's still towers to be taken in the top lane. Baron's coming up in about a minute. You move the ward line up in theory, right? You get control of your opposing team's jungle, and maybe you knock down the tower before the Baron's even on the docket.
Just maybe.
Right.
Just maybe.
That's the hope here, right? We'll see whether or not that's what they attempt to do, or it just ends up being about a minute of dead time and, you know, the will they, won't they of dancing around on the engage. But looks like Indiana definitely more poised and motivated this time around, so
Yeah.
I'd like to see a little bit more vision coming out. But beyond that, they're playing this one perfectly.
I think that it could be a little bit dangerous, almost. Indiana seems like they're getting a little bit comfortable, and so it's possible that this might not be the right call, right? If they take this too slow, if they just don't use too much of it, what happens if they stall out and they just lose their Lucian advantage? They don't have their damage anymore. Can't break through the front line.
That's what happened in the first game, right? They got comfortable, and Rutgers was able to identify and punish.
Not that comfortable. Right, that was like, okay, you know, you're about to like, you know.
It's a lazy boy sail at Sears comfortable.
It's the difference between like, you know, you take your shoes off, or like you're fully reclined in an armchair, you know, waiting for the big game. There's two different levels of comfortable. You know what I mean?
This is the big game for these two teams.
This is the big game. You can't be waiting for it though. You gotta come and take it.
Right, as it's coming down to the wire, the Baron is what they want to find. It was what a gain of 3-4 towers once they got that Baron last time. They'd like to obviously secure and replicate this time as 33 minutes, 30 seconds, passing on the board. This is where things start to get tricky. This is a point in the game where the death timers are long enough that it could just be one fight, especially if the fight goes in the favor of Indiana to finish this game off. The inhibitor will come back for Rutgers. They will have that. It's going to be a huge advantage when considering Baron now that, or rather that they won't be playing at a disadvantage. But it still means that if they lose this fight, Indiana could just pour down mid. They'd have 2 towers to take, and that's no problem for the team with a Lucian this strong right now. So do definitely need to make sure they don't give away too much in a fight like this. Rutgers, maybe they want to start the Baron. Maybe they want to be the first ones to ground on this. They know Speedy Lion's going to have his teleport here. They've played this split push game with him once before, and they actually came out the victors. This is where it gets tricky. Getting that Rift Scuttler going to be a big first step. It actually went over.
Okay.
To Indiana. That's a nice takeaway. Oh, man. The pressure just building up bit by bit by bit. You can feel it between these two teams. So thick. It just permeates the air. Meanwhile, Lissandra wants to go in. Rem trying to find it. That's going to be the Glacial Fissure. Rem, were you in too early? Could be the damage coming down. That's going to be bad news for Andes. He's very low. The shutdown does come down on to Cokes. He gets that one through. Daedric is trying to find more now. Rem is in some trouble. That is the double kill. No one dead. No one dead to the Karthus ultimate yet. And this could be bigger. Rem going to be in some trouble. Dire Bump wants to find it. Triple kill. And look at these death timers. It's only Best Ken and NA. The health bars are low, but there's nothing he can do against this one. Not with...
He can just stall the wave. This is exactly what he is doing. This is a fantastic play. What it does is it means that they have to chase him down if they want to get their minions back. He's taking them hostage, running them all the way back down the lane. He will be brought down at some point, though. I have to think so. The Zillion speed up is just too much to deal with.
River
but
as well, and
look at the time he's bought.
Yeah, he's just single-handedly saved this game, actually.
That's the thing. Everyone says there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. Unless there is already a minion wave there, there's always something you can do. Scoop the minion wave, go forwards with it, and then use that advantage to stall the game out. Take a very important lesson from this game. If anyone watching is trying to win a game, never, ever over.
You know, I'm actually curious to see, too. Speedy Lion has so much health. I wonder if they could have just one Nexus Tower at a time kind of dealt with that.
Maybe. I mean, the answer is maybe.
Especially with King Jeebus having that revive. He didn't have to use it in that last fight.
Let's say they walk at it. Let's say they do. The problem is they're still low on damage. They don't have that much damage to take these turrets. The sustained damage is, you know, a Lucian and a Kayn.
Yeah. And in reality, you would need to send the Kayn after Best Ken and NA because the problem
that's
only
even
gets worse,
assuming that,
right?
you know, you would get to the turrets and you wouldn't get harassed by the Camille, right? What if the Camille just backs, starts hitting you at that point? I would have rather seen if they were going to do the plan that they did, just go for Baron, right? Camille can't steal the Baron reasonably when you have Zillion speed up. So, you go for Baron. When Camille walks forwards, either slow her down for the 99% slow, or you speed up so that she can't actually run away, and then just go with it.
Wrong
Kill her,
direction on the
get the
shield
Ignite
there.
down, sorry, the Smite down, and then run.
Speedy Lion wants to get in. There's the ultimate
Speaking of
coming
running.
through. And it's not going to connect just yet, but they want to get a funnel attached here. They're going to try to get it. There's the Glacial Fissure. Finds 3. Best cannon in A. And on the back line, Yama's low. The ultimate's popped on him by Zillion, but I don't even think they're going to find that first one. Yes, the resurrections will be happening on both sides, but Coax goes down in the meantime. What can he find? Well, there is the Requiem coming down, but is it enough? Yama very low, but Dire Bump stays alive, and that could be huge on Dez. What can you do here? It looks like not a lot as the stun comes out. Sweaty Toast on the run for his life, but he will absolutely be the last one to fall, and that has to do it. This time, Best Cannon in A. No cheeky plays to save yourself here. Super Minions already in the base, already knocking on the doors of these towers. Means that they are most certainly going to find this game. Number 2 going back to the side of Indiana. Rutgers will find themselves on the receiving end of a painful loss as we go to 1-1 in this series.
Yeah, and it was much more than just a painful loss, right? You take a look at why Rutgers loses. They lose because the team fights aren't working out, right? They don't really know how to play around the Karthus. They're still losing a bunch of useful damage, a bunch of his health is just going to get thrown in. He's walking into the fight. He's dying like a normal Karthus. That can't be the case. When you're replacing the AD carry, you have to be doing more damage than just a Karthus who walks in and dies, right? That's the chain, and that's the reason he doesn't scale well all the time. Can't find that range. The Goldilocks zone to actually deal your damage with your Skittles, you just get melted. And we saw him get melted time and time again. It's the reason they had such a difficult time in this endgame, and the CC to boot didn't help it either. So, very well played endgame from Indiana. I think that they have a very good shot at closing out the series, obviously. But if Rutgers plays like they did game 1, so do they. Right? This is a very, very competitive series going into the 3rd game.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to give the players a little bit of time to reset, get ready for this 3rd game as we do kick it over to a quick break. We'll be back with the conclusion of this series to see who does move on and stay alive in this series, in this season, right after this.